this was a very interesting study that I carried on, and this has been into my mind since many years, because always and always, whenever we started any discussion, any survey regards to green building, we always ended up with one single entity called awareness and lack of awareness. So what was happening in my mind was, everybody is talking that there is some gap with regards to awareness, but what exactly people are doing to overcome it. So I tried looking for things. So I realized people are doing multiple things at many levels, but there was a lack somewhere of integrating all the activities. And when I realized that green building is one entity which is ideally connected to all separate, segregated, further entities, we call it variables. And when we try to connect all of them, only and only then the results actually come up. So talking today with the focus of consumer water outlook. And the word changing here, I think, makes a difference, because the surveys and the studies that were carried out way back in 2001 to 2005 had a very, very different approach with absolutely what you are talking. We just cannot understand your words, all jargons, and kind of not only lack of awareness, but total lack of approach to what we are talking. They were not at all interested. The next period that I would range from 2005 to 2010, we had, the big shots talking of, okay, efficiency, some green word has come in, sustainability has come in, and there were multiple words following the national leaders, the national campaigns that were happening all around the globe. And then we started hearing words like green building, sustainability to a very, very large scale, when ideally the government started integrating incentives and preferences with regards to these certifications and the processes. There were independent things already happening, but still the consumer approach was very, very reluctant to all of it, because they were actually not clear. Okay, these people are talking very big words, but how do I relate to it as a consumer? Now, if Anshul Gujarathi is a simple housewife staying in a 3 BHK flat, 3-bedroom, all kitchen flat in, say, Pune, what will be Anshul Gujarati's approach to water will be very different from Dr. Anshul Gujarati, who's a green consultant. And that is how the major difference was realized when the consumer refused to accept the change. And that is why I felt this study is very, very important. I am glad that multiple developers for my own projects, they helped me out with their own project surveys. We have one developer who allowed me to enter 13 projects, 13 big projects, I would say, about 5 lakh square feet, multiple towers. And I am studying their buildings since past 12 years now. Not only their projects, but every green building project that we are intervening, I'm trying to collate the data and keep adding to my analysis and studies. So friends, let's discuss our ambitions with water. Since we are talking about water, I have focused this particular presentation with water, but believe me, my friends, this is applicable to every entity of green building. It is not only limited to water, this can be applied to every aspect. So our ambitions with water, we'll be discussing few gaps in approach and awareness, ignorances. Yes, ignorances can also be termed as leakages when it comes to water, but yes, ignorance is a wider word. So some 12R principle. We have been talking about few R's till date. So I thought of exploring a bit more into this and developed some 12R principle. Let's see how you guys react to that. Balance and zero approach and way forward, how we can actually help this. So friends, our focus area, our worldwide earthly focus areas have been the SDGs and the goals. Every summit we have been hearing the typical jargons, and this has been the ruling, I would say, language all over the world. And not only this, this has also become a fashion word that whenever we talk green, it is associated with anything. And there is, I would say, a back thought at the consumer's end that, okay, it is green, it is safe, it is natural, it is organic. So I have to buy that. But simultaneously, they also have a thought that, oh, it might be costing more. It will cost more. And then they confirm it, yes, it is costing more. So this is how the entire marketing gimmick has been played. And we have been hearing all these words and the 17 SDG goals, which are out of which the 9 goals are absolutely connected to what we are doing, nature, human sustenance, and green buildings in totality. So because of all these things coming into picture, we started developing few ambitions with regards to water. Now, this is not only with regards to water, we have higher ambitions. And we talk of net zero mission on the whole. Then we try and minimize it to net zero energy, net zero carbon, net zero waste, and of course, net zero water. And what happens by doing all these independent and then the integrated thing is we are looking forward to a perfect sustainable output without understanding that where we are actually leading to. But I'm glad the movement has started with a great bang, which is required. The second jargon word here is decarbonization. I actually did one very small stupid exercise, but I thought of doing it. I got hold of two people who were, trying to sell their conference by the word decarbonization, and I asked them the meaning of this particular word, and believe me, friends, they were quite lost for some time. I don't have to worry about this particular group I am talking to because I know that you guys are very much aware of things, but many a times we try and inculcate such words that are difficult for a layman to understand. And then we expect them to behave in the affirmative manner that we wish to. And probably they are so lost, they don't even understand what we are talking. And when I'm talking decarbonization, we are, okay, something to do with carbon. Whether how is it relating to water actually? What are you talking? We have heard water, okay, not in terms of carbon, but yes, carbon neutrality has been a word. And that is how water neutrality also comes into picture. So this is how they will relate or do something like that. So another jargon word that comes is water neutrality. And the most commonly used word is ZLD, zero liquid discharge. And then we aim for 100% metering because we are aware that there might be something that will be a resource soon ending. We might not be able to use that resource. This is how we are actually looking at water. Now, my friends, when I ask the exact definition of this particular net zero water, so trying to explain in very, very simple words, it is a water neutral building where the source is equal to the total water consumption and reuse, and water is returned back, and the entire water balance chart is coming to zero or equal, being equal. So if the water is balanced and the balance is achieved, your building is a water neutral building. Simultaneously, IPCC's definition for net zero mentions that a process by which the countries, mind it my friends, it is countries, individuals or other entities. So under countries, we know what is defined. Under individuals, we know what is defined. But probably other entities definition, if we see, it is including any and everything. So probably we don't have to worry and we can define our own boundaries for which we need to or aim to achieve zero fossil carbon existence. Now again, zero fossil carbon existence, how is it relating to water or maybe waste? Or is it only focusing on energy and carbon? My friends, all of you are aware this is an integrated effort. One area, one aspect you are not looking at, probably it is affecting on a major scale and the net zero will not be achieved. So it is an integrated effort, but done by whom? It is like stakeholders. Now, which stakeholder is going to take the lead? Who is going to do it? It is all the stakeholders. So our national level stakeholders have already given us a timeline of 2050 for few things, 2070 for other things. And I did mention in the IPA conference as well that I probably may not live to see what is happening in 2070, but it's already high time that to achieve that in 2070, we have to start taking steps. And there's a nice saying that I'm still including here as well by Chris Brown. You have got to crawl before you can walk, and you have got to walk before you can run. And by talking net zero, we are actually talking of flying. There are few areas, there are few people, there are few individuals who have not yet woken up before even crawling or getting up from the bed. They're still sleeping. So we need to wake them up and then start crawling, walking, running, and then lastly flying. So we need to wake up all the stakeholders because they are the real instrument to drive these concepts to reality. Let me talk of stakeholders. Who are stakeholders? It's a consultant consortium. We are all aware, wherein the architect plays a lead role. We have landscape person, licensing, structural engineer, HVAC plumbing, along with the major decision maker, the client team, the owner, the purchase person, and the investors. So ideally, who takes the decision in this entire scene, and that was realized in a hard way, is the purchase person. So he will report to the owner as per the architect's guidance, and then he will take the decision which consultant to put on board, which material to be purchased, and what specifications to be taken according to the L1. I'm really sorry to mention this, but friends, this is the hard truth that we all have to accept. So it is very, very much linked to the cost. And that was one of the reasons majorly when I started doing my own thesis. So this was not required for me actually being into practice. And Hariharan sir mentioned it is 1 decade. We have already crossed 2 decades. It's 22 years now for me being in practice. And when I started, it was like people did not understand what is green building. Absolutely. It was like you paint the building green or you plant a green wall or something. It was literally that understanding. But still, the way struggled through, and in the midway when I decided that yes, I have to do some research because there was a major gap realized. I'll come to it in a short while. So when we talk of stakeholders, a major realization was there that with all of this consortium, the end user is the most impactive stakeholder. And the end user ideally will define what these consortium people have to actually work on. So my friends, the project management team can definitely reconfirm this, that any design phase, the energy and cost that goes in is 3 to 5%. Energy and cost in construction phase, approximately we can rate to 22 to 35%. While in operation phase, it's 60 to 75%, which is the maximum consumption area. And if we really have to look at this aspect of converting a project into net zero, we have to look at the operation and maintenance part of it. Looking at that particular aspect, it was very difficult to understand the end user purview. And a few graphics that are freely available on the web I've just depicted here because the kind of amenities any project will have, the kind of work any commercial building will have, or the household work or the lady or the maid ideally will define if your building is net zero water or not, net zero energy or not.